Hello and welcome to the Board Game Geek Show for March 6, 2020. I'm your host, Lincoln Damerst. I'm here with my lovely co-hosts, I'll borrow a phrase from Scott Alden, Eric Martin, Rodney Smith, and Steph Hodge. How you guys doing?
Hi.
Hey, good. Better than Scott, apparently.
Yeah, Scott's not feeling good, and Scott's dealing with site issues, so he's away today. And, you know, it's been a crazy time. We just got back last week from Cannes FIJ. That was Rodney, me, Beth, and Barry Doublet. And then Eric got back from the New York Toy Fair. He's giving me a thumbs up. How was that, Eric?
That was its usual. It's kind of weird just because it feels like I'm sort of, it's a Groundhog Day thing where I keep going back and all the people are the same and the booths are the same and it's just different things on the shelves. It's it's a weird experience going to lots of conventions year after year after year, and you just have that same experience.
Well, it's kind of the same with any con that I feel like Gen Con's always kind of like set up the same, and Essence kind of set up the same, and you get the same feeling, just new stuff.
It definitely has that. New York, though, it's stuck in Javits Center. There's no expansion. I mean, Gen Con's slowly been expanding, and Spiel adds a new hall every year or two, and Origins kind of fluctuates and has shifted things around. New York Toy Fair is just like Javits Center. That's it. And you just walk the halls.
No
back
expansion.
And forth. Yeah, there's no expansion. There's nothing going on there. So it's very similar.
Well, I'll tell you something. Cannes was not similar for me.
Yeah, no joke. I was going to ask you. It was your first time. What'd you think?
Yeah, it was really different because I'm used to seeing many of these publisher booths at other shows, but I didn't recognize hardly any of the people in them. It was so different than being at any other show.
That's true.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Totally different teams of people. It's a very French show because it's in France, of course.
Yes.
And even the games themselves, you pick up a box, you flip it over to look at it and read what's on the back. It's like, oh, this is all in French. I have no idea.
Yes.
What
this thing has cards and a board.
Yes. That's right.
Oh, of course. Yes.
I know Rodney was excited about Dig Yourself Out. Is that what it was when it had English on the back?
That's right. I found one game with English on the back and I bought it. That's right. I'm sure there was more, but it was a big show. There's tons of publishers there, tons of people. I think one of the coolest things was that the second level above where I guess what you'd call the dealer exhibit area was, that was all just for kids. It was a giant area with a bunch of screaming kids in it, but they were all having like a wonderful time. It was really kind of, I don't know, invigorating, kind of joyful thing to sort of walk around and see. And they're far enough away that they aren't running around screaming in the rest of the area. So win-win.
You finally showed me where that place was at because this is my third time there. And the first year I'd heard about it and didn't see it. Second time Beth said she found it and told me where to go. And I never found it. So you and I found it, but we were trying to find food. So I never actually made it up there. Next year, maybe.
That took priority. Yeah, we definitely got lost a lot at this show. There's a lot of getting lost and not knowing where to go and not being able to read the signs and people kind of looking at you funny.
No daylight. You can't. Yes. No windows downstairs because I feel we are in a parking structure in that space. Everybody was saying when I was telling people about it, they're like, maybe they parked the Stars cars there for the International Film Festival. So because it's the same facility and it's really fantastic. We did not make it to the off this year. Rodney was. We all were kind of like retiring early, I think just to try to keep ourselves feeling well because it was definitely, it was a shift. I kept waking up every night after about 4 hours of sleep. I don't know what the heck was happening. I've never had that kind of problem. I was certainly tired and I've never had jet lag issues. So it was really weird. Maybe it was just so much travel in such a short amount of time because this was my third trip already this year. So wow, too much. And the rest of us, it's our second trip or so, you know.
We've been all over the place in different places of the world, but we're all kind of back together again here for a BGG show. And I think is there some BGG announcements? Do we have anything to announce?
Well, we have tickets available. I know that for the Spring Con is available. And I guess, let's see here. I got this whole list of stuff. This is BGG.CON Premium Badges, and those are happening soon. There's a link to that, I guess, that we'll put in the show notes. I won't point at the corner because I don't think we can actually do that. We got, there's a bunch of dates. We got March 2nd, which is today. So that's 4 days too early for you guys. Premium badges for premium every timers. Then the 6th is premium badges for premium 2 timers. March 10th, premium badges for premium 1 timers. And premium badges for all pending availability on the 13th. And regular badges go on sale on the 17th. So that means the fall convention that will be at the ball is downtown. The tickets are now going on sale, and they do generally sell out pretty quickly. So be prepared for that if you want to go. Book that in your hotel as soon as possible.
So the most important date's probably March 13th. If you're already a premium badge participant from previous shows, I assume you have gotten a notice and you are aware of the announcement. But March 13th will be premium badge open for people who have never experienced it before. You get some bonuses for signing up for the premium badge, games and guarantee of hotel space and some other things.
T-shirt.
Early
entry.
T-shirt as well. Yes. And March 17th is the general ticket sale, starting roughly
St. Patrick's Day.
3 p.m. Central Time in the U.S., which is, I believe, -6 UTC.
This isn't just hyperbole. This is my favorite convention of the year. I love BGG.CON. If you want to go somewhere and just play a bunch of games with a bunch of people, this is such a fantastic convention to do it at. So if it's something you've never gone to and you're thinking, well, maybe this is the year, I recommend it for sure.
What do you recommend for playing lots of games with robots?
Robots.
You seem very, very clear. It's very specific. A bunch of games
right.
with a bunch of people.
Right.
I don't know if you had an alternative source of...
There's other places if you want to play with animals. There's zoos you can go to, but BGG.CON is for people primarily.
People, yes.
Primarily.
Okay, good. All right, glad we clarified that.
We also have our BGG Artist Series posters up for pre-order now. Series 4 is up, but you can also pre-order any of the previous 3 series. All sizes are available to pre-order, which is fantastic. They are really beautiful, and the new series is really great. We have Scythe. Patchwork, that's correct.
Great Western Trail, right?
I know, which is really good.
It's amazing.
And the Wingspan one by Nick Navarro.
And Wingspan, Wingspan is really great. There was actually an article on Kotaku about it, where they interviewed Chad, probably one of our first big kind of interviews with our marketing people, which was exciting because the art is really, really great. The funny thing is I don't think they mentioned any of the new ones. They only talked about the previous 3 series. So,
also, they interviewed Chad's twin brother, Char.
Oh, is that what was it?
Yes.
Was that in the original post?
Char Krijan. Yes.
All right, Char.
Yeah.
It's a new name for BGG. Char. We got Chad and Char. That's right. Got a lot of Chads. We do need a Char now.
That's right.
But it's also probably short for Charles or Charlton. I don't know.
The end result is these pictures are amazing.
They are really beautiful.
I think this is the best of the series so far. I mean, I really love. I want that Scythe one.
I would say that the Race for the Galaxy one was.
That is a really great.
There's always at least one unbelievably great one, and they're all really great. I love all of them so far. The Dead of Winter one, was that the last one we had? The last series? Yeah, I mean that was a really great one too. There's always something really great, and it's fun because the deal is we ask artists to choose one of their favorite games in the top 100-ish that they would like to have illustrate. They'd like to illustrate, and then they go off and do their own thing for it. We don't really give them much direction other than maybe, trying to
getting clearance from the publisher.
Well, yeah, we definitely get clearance from the publisher, and anything, as it said in the article, anything that's IP related, Chad avoids. So don't expect any Star Wars ones, guys. This is the best we're going to get. We are also going to be live streaming again from GAMA Expo, sorry, I don't call it trade show, starting next week on Tuesday, the 10th, I believe, of March, and we run through Thursday. We'll start in the afternoon on Tuesday, and then we'll start at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time every day after that till Thursday.
And we'll have a link to the schedule in the show notes because that will be live prior to this show going live.
It'll also be on our Board Game Geek Express channel, which I went over and over with the last time. And we got subscribers the last time, so that was exciting. So if you subscribe, thanks very much. Consider subscribing, though, if you're interested in new games, because that's where you're going to hear about them. I also recommend getting notifications because, holy cow, a lot of videos go up. But the thing is then you would know what is happening. We're in the process of getting the CAN FIJ videos posted. Ran into some troubles with the hard drive, thought it was failing. I was really scared. But everything's fine. And I mean, we still have the backup of the main show where I could cut everything out. But it's nice having it in this little encapsulated post so that we can easily put it together and put it on the stream. Nikki and I are rushing to get those done so that we'll be done before I go to GAMA on Monday. And Rodney will be going to GAMA too. And Eric will be going to GAMA. Oh boy, GAMA.
If you want to see it live, the website is what? Twitch.tv/BoardGameGeekTV?
Yep.
Right.
And it's fun. Join us there. I mean, we're in your time zone, roughly the U.S. for once. And you'll be able to communicate with us live. We will not be taking questions while we're doing interviews, but afterwards we will be between the different guests.
Yeah, we definitely keep an eye on the comments. So when people are leaving and then someone new is coming in, we have time to maybe jump in there and interact with the audience a little bit that way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fun show. And it's quiet. So this is although the first day of CAN was amazing because it is the professional day and we were in a little isolated spot. So only at one point where there was a booth across from us that was going to be having a Kickstarter soon, there was like a bunch of people there and they were all talking, and that was the noisiest that first day was. But it gets worse the following days because, as Rodney said, there's a lot of children upstairs and they get separated from their parents and they make lots of announcements about missing kids or missing parents.
Yeah.
So we were complaining about it at the beginning, our first year, and then we found out it was about lost children. We're like, oh, hey, we're not going to be jerks about this. It's okay. GAMA is amazing quiet because we're in our own junior suite, and the only noise you're going to hear is the people giggling in the background when somebody says something funny. So
that's right.
It's pretty mellow.
Lincoln and Nikki are still working on the videos for Con, but all of the game overview videos from Spielwarenmesse have been published, except for one that is being held for embargo purposes. It will be announced at a future date.
Can I just say what it is? Because, wow, I can't wait for it. It's fun.
No, you cannot say what it is.
Boo.
We can give one clue, I guess. You think of a game mechanism, and it's the reverse of it.
That's pretty good.
There you go.
What?
You have to imagine a game mechanism.
No, I heard you. I just didn't understand.
Worker displacement.
The reverse of that.
Right.
And that's what the game is based on. I mean, there's more to it than just that, but
Deck deconstruction. I don't know.
That's your cue as to what's happening.
Oh, that one's been done. This one I have not heard.
I know. I'm thinking. I don't know what you're talking about.
Bag unbuilding.
Well, you could sneak it. It's on YouTube already, but you can't watch it. But if you're on, Rodney could go peek. But yeah,
right.
I can't.
Off I go.
It doesn't get announced till later this spring, correct?
March or April.
Okie dokie. Well, it does look fun. I can't wait to see more from it. The art looks really fun. So now let's get to the stuff that I guess is a favorite part of the show. It's what have you been playing? Hey, let's start with you, Steph. I know you've probably played more than all of us.
Actual games rather than theoretical games that you cannot give details on.
Oh, actual games, you say?
Yes.
Well, I have been playing a new game called In the Hall of the Mountain King. I don't know if you've heard of this, but there are polyominoes, so it's an automatic. I love it, right?
There you go.
But what you do is you start with like a lineup of trolls, and they're your workers, and they're going to help you dig through these caverns, and you're going to find these statues, and you'll want to bring these statues closer to the heart of the mountain in order to get more points. So the statues get closer, they belong to you, you can get points that way. There's also ways that you can make grand halls depending on the polyominoes that you're placing in these caverns. So if you have enough clearing, you can get these like grand halls, which will get you points. But as you go, you're going to run out of resources from the trolls that don't do their work. So you're going to have to recruit new trolls. And you're going to create this like pyramid scheme of trolls. So every time you add a new pyramid, every time you add a new troll, you're going to activate all the trolls underneath to repopulate what they're good at. So you're going to get resources. So you want to use the resources on the trolls to dig your way through the caverns and collect these different statues. There's tons of ways to get points. And as soon as you create your full pyramid of trolls, the game will end. So you don't want to rush that too fast because you want to do everything you can with the resources that you have before you get more trolls and all these different things. So you're definitely actively thinking of what you're doing. It's fun.
I just love that there's like a pyramid scheme of trolls in this game.
Yeah.
Do you want to sell Avon?
It is also a common theme throughout the game because it's not just your personal board, but also the trolls that you're drafting have a pyramid scheme too. If you draft a more expensive troll, you have to pay off the other trolls underneath in order to claim them.
I'm in. I love this.
That's right.
Is every person building their troll internment camp on their own board in front of them, or is it like a shared area, like a big mountain you're going into?
Everybody will have their own trolls that they're controlling.
Control.
So they all have their different pyramid scheme of trolls. So you start off with the 4 basic ones. That is actually kind of a cool drafting mechanic where everybody has the same 6, but you shuffle them up. You reveal 2, pick 1, reveal 1, pick 1. And so depending on like how you organize them at the beginning, everybody will have a different setup. So that's kind of cool. So the 2 trolls in the middle that you're drafting for yourself, they're going to activate more because, you know, that guy will activate over here and then he'll activate again. The middle ones and the edge won't activate as much. So you want to put your good resources in the middle of your pyramid. But everybody has their own pyramid of trolls. And then the common drafting where you're getting new trolls is among everybody.
Gotcha. So how long does that one take to play?
Oh, it's a standard Euro. So probably like 60 to 90 minutes. For new time, you know, it'll be a little bit longer, that kind of thing. It goes pretty quickly. I mean, you can rush it because you could be like, I don't need these resources. I'm just going to get more trolls. And then, you know, as soon as someone triggers that end troll, like, then you're just done. You have to finish a few rounds, right? But you want to get the trophies, I mean, the statues and all these different things in the cavern and explore that way. So there's a lot of things that you're doing. You're manipulating your resources in a lot of different ways. That's cool.
We should have had a count on how many times you said troll in there.
I know.
It was like
ding,
Smurfs.
ding, ding.
I kept
Smurf!
expecting you to Smurf things.
Last time I kept talking about stuff. I think I had stuff on the mind because they finally announced the Belrati game that the new version.
Right.
It's called Stuff, which looks good. I mean, I actually love all the art, and I think I'm happy it's back to color. So hooray! What have you been playing, Rodney?
The only game I've played since CAN is this little fella here called Coffee Roaster, which has been around for a little while, I think, but it was new to me. A friend of mine had recommended it to me, said it was a great solo game, and so I wanted to give it a spin. Now, there's a new version of it that's out from Stronghold game here, in North America, and it's got updated artwork. I don't know if the rules have changed at all, but I'll do my best to give you a quick summary of how it works. Basically, you're trying to roast the perfect cup of coffee, and it's a bag building game. So you're going to have a particular starting sheet that will, this is your bean sheet, and it tells you what tokens you should put in the bag. And the game comes with a whole mess of tokens. Thankfully, there's like a little sorting tray in the box for it. And so you take out the tokens from here, you dump them in your bag, and then based on the round you're in, you're going to draw a certain number of those tokens out. And then you're going to spend those tokens to either activate special effects, or you're going to put certain types of flavor tokens on here to give you benefits towards the end of the game. At the end of every round, your beans are going to roast, they're going to get a little stronger, a little better maybe, and they're going to increase in value. And the whole reason you're doing this round out is then you'll put all the tokens back in the bag, you'll draw again. At any point in time before the end of the game, you can stop and say, I think I've roasted the perfect cup of coffee. And then you'll actually start pouring out some tokens into a coffee cup here, and you'll do a test. So you won't know exactly what you're going to draw out, but over the course of the game, you've been trying to build in your bag better odds that you'll be drawing good things out to put in this, hopefully, perfect cup of coffee. I have yet to make a perfect cup of coffee. I have made a lot of terrible cups of coffee in the game so far. I think the first time I played...
It is very hard, because if you get these amazing beans, then you're going to go over your target value.
Yeah, exactly. So every bean sheet has, like, you're trying to hit a certain value, as you said, Steph. And so... if it's right in the middle here that you get all the points. So you don't want to go over it. You don't want to be too little. And I'm not great at it, but I really, really enjoy it. I really like it. And I can tell playing it more, I will get better at it. And then as you get better at it, there's more and more challenging sheets you can go through and try.
If you're a solo gamer, I also would recommend it. It's like the only solo game that I own, like solo.
Right. And I'm not really a solo gamer myself. I don't do a lot of solo game, but this one makes me want to do a little more. So I'm gonna take this one with me on trips.
It is fun.
You're committing to carrying a game with you on trips.
I do it all the time, Lincoln.
Yes, but it's unusual for Rodney. It's
true.
I can't even dream of that. I get burnt when I bring games back from cons. It's always rough too, because lately I have bags full of gear. I have plenty of space in my suitcases to carry things. I have no weight. Everything is maxed out at about 50 pounds every time.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
This is my solution to bringing back new games, because my bag will already be full of other games. So I'm like, I can't buy any more.
Were you able to bring that one back, the alligator or the crocodile river thing?
No, I didn't. So that was at CAN. It's so lovely. People, sometimes they want to share a game with you or give you a gift to take back. And normally that's not an issue. But this particular game came in a crate. A big wooden crate.
It's tactic. It's like Mulkey. It's the same crate as Mulkey.
It's a lawn game. It's a lawn game for like throwing like big wooden blocks around, and it was really sweet of them to give it to me. I took it back to the room, and I just could not find a way to Tetris it into my suitcase, unfortunately.
Even without the crate, you were going to do it without the crate, right?
Yeah, I was going to try, but yeah.
Did you give it to some good Samaritan?
Well, I'm sure whoever was taking care of the room might have picked it up. I left the rules there and everything for them, so we'll see. What about you, Lincoln? You play anything fun lately?
Well, we finally finished the Wilson Wolf Affair. That was 4 episodes live streaming, at least 17 hours. I think it was more like 20 hours because one of the days we wrapped it up because Deborah needed to go home to pick up her dogs from the daycare, essentially. And we heard her come back in and she's like, her husband was picking up the dogs. But the Wilson Wolf Affair is this amazing, amazing puzzle. And I'm not even sure you can actually buy it at all anymore unless you buy a copy. Well, they had leftover ones from the Kickstarter, and it was the most expensive one. And it's amazing. You build all these really fantastic little, these guys, well, this guy's falling down, so he obviously, the glue didn't work. But they're supposed to move around and stuff. And this one, you build all these things, and some of them, this one you get, there's actually a puzzle on it that you have to figure out that helps you solve something else. But some of them, like this one was another crazy one that you build this little castle.
What?
Oh my gosh.
So that's so cute.
What is that?
That looks awesome.
So there's all these, there's all this fantastic stuff. There's just tons of little bits in here. We all took turns being crafty. But it was really, really fantastic. And it's a really fun watch if you're into watching people just with the tops of their heads down. But we actually we finished it last Thursday, and it was amazing because I thought for sure, Dave joked at the beginning that we'd be doing it for the rest of the year. And we were kind of like wrapping it up, and Scott's like, "You've got one more puzzle." I'm like, "What?" So we figured it out. It was pretty fantastic. Everybody came. We'd all been so immersed in the game that it all was coming together. Like at one point, there was a sword, and Nikki's like, "Well, there's an ad about." Oh, it was an animation cell. She's like, "There's an ad about swords in one of the newspapers." I mean, there's newspapers. There's this fantastic puzzle. I mean, it's insane. And so we're digging through it. Here's one of the newspapers. I think this is the one we split up. But it turns out there's all these elements that just interrelate, and it's really great. There's also just some fun flavory type things, but it's a murder mystery, I guess. Or I have no idea. Actually, I don't know. At the very end, we said what's happening, and I didn't absorb any of it because I was so blown away that we were done. So you do this summary of what I guess happened, and we basically did almost every puzzle except for a few. We were able to make some leaps with you're spelling out words and you're missing one letter, and that's easy to figure out usually that you don't need it. And I think we post-solved them afterwards just to see what we missed. But it was amazing, and it was a really fun time. And at Simulacra Games, you should actually follow them. I'm sure they've probably got something else in development. It is one of the most amazing puzzles I've ever seen. It's very, very intricate, and it has multiple levels. So the very base level is a notebook with some puzzles like what do they call it? Atmos artifact, and you had to figure out what that did. And that occurred to me like, because there's an ad. So what they did is in the Kickstarter, they made up fake puzzles because they didn't want to spoil anything. So essentially they did more puzzles than were actually in the game. And I was thinking about the one that I don't want to spoil it because if anybody does it, but I was like, oh, there was this one thing they mentioned there. I wonder if that's what that means by Atmos. And sure enough, it was. And you can see it all. We spoil everything. So there will be no surprise if you watch it. But it is really fantastic. And that's kind of what we're saving the live streams for. It will be things that we can't easily do on the show. We will be doing Clank Legacy. I think we're going to film it this week. The plan is to film it this week. And then we're going to continue it on the live stream. So it will spoil it for people, but, we'll let everybody know every night. And it'll be fun because we always, from the very beginning, we did Legends of Andor. And we wanted to continue that. And we talked about live streaming. And, everybody's life is so busy that we couldn't make it happen. But now we're finally able to, now that I'm working full-time for BGG, I don't have to go to bed so early to get to work the next day, and we can actually do these kinds of things. Because I think the final live stream was over 5 hours. for Wilson Wolfe Affair, and we went 5.5 hours a couple times and 3.5 hours. It's really fun, and that's also on twitch.tv/BoardGameGeek TV. So if you want to check it out, we're doing it on Thursdays. The next one will be 2 weeks from yesterday when this goes live. So
I like your efforts as the detective. We didn't solve the case, but look at this house I built.
Oh no, we solved it, but I mean, it was unbelievable. We did everything.
We have no idea what was going on.
Remember what the actual thing was, because it's this big mystery. You're just thrown into this.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of stuff to get you started, but mostly, you're not really sure what's going on. I think we discovered a sheet of paper at the very final day that kind of laid out what you needed to do. And we were wondering what are we supposed to be doing? Because it was not in a box. It just came. I mean, it obviously got shipped in a box, but it was just this pile of stuff. And I kept it. I'm happy everything was there, because at one point we were missing one envelope. We're like, oh my God, where the heck is that at? It could have been lost forever. Turned out it was right, this little teeny envelope here, and it had fallen down that day. Dave's like, it could have been sitting there for weeks. I'm like, Dave, I cleaned up. It was not there. You dropped it that night. So, but yeah, you don't really know. You just kind of pick. And the problem is everything, I showed you these beautiful shiny things. I didn't show you the zoetrope. There's a zoetrope that you spin here.
Oh my God, awesome.
Built. And it's fantastic. It's not, most of these things you don't need to do. Like, we solved this one by just reading the strip, because I don't know that would actually animate well, but it's really, really amazing. And I hope that they do something again. It's totally worth getting into if you see it come up. And you can subscribe to them at simulacragames.com, I believe it is. And, just put your email in and they'll let you know when they launch something. A bunch of my friends actually bought it while we were doing it. Henning actually bought 2 copies of it. I think he bought the gold level one and the platinum level one. So I don't know if he watched a bunch of it because he didn't want to spoil it for himself, but he was very excited about it.
Well, Eric, top that. What have you been playing?
I've been playing something much less time intensive. I will say that. Ticket to Ride, the new Japan and Italy map collection, number 7 from Days of Wonder and designer Alan R. Moon. This game has a board that I cannot even fit on camera here.
Oh, it's gigantic. We saw it at Cannes.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. It's the first 8-fold board
ever made.
Yeah. So I can fold it in half and sort of show you some things here. So each map in this series has something new to it. Japan has a bullet train, which is central to being in Japan. And everyone collectively builds the bullet train. So you're collecting cards, you pay for a route, it's gray, so you pay for it with any 3 of a kind or 2 of a kind or 4 of a kind or whatever. And you put one little bullet train on here and you get credit for how many spaces you built on the bullet train, and you get a bonus or a penalty at the end of the game based on how well you contributed. And everyone can use those trains to complete their tickets. So you have only 20 trains in your personal collection, and then there's the bullet trains, and you kind of have to merge them together in a good way in order to satisfy all your tickets, because you cannot possibly build everything yourself. But of course, everything you build on the bullet train is helping other people too. So that's that side. And then the other side is Italy. So it's nice they have these long countries all paired together. Again, I can only show a portion of Italy. The trick mainly in Italy, there's 2 things. You've got these ferry routes that you pay for with a ferry card that can cover 2 spaces that are indicated here. If you don't have a ferry card, you have to cover each one separately with a locomotive. So that gets very costly. So you need to draft the ferry cards that are separate from the deck. In addition, Italy is comprised of 15 different regions, and you look at each network that you build on the board, and you get points based on how many regions you connect. So you're trying to build everything together. And I sorely underestimated what I needed to do in Italy, and I lost 71 points just because I thought I had so much more time and I could connect all these things, and it was only a two-player game, and the person took the route to Palermo that was exactly what I needed, and that was on 3 of my tickets, and just things blew up.
Wow.
It was a learning game.
Okay.
So,
I guess.
Next time, but
Wow.
it's funny you forget, or at least I forget until I play again, how good Ticket to Ride is. It's so simple. It's so streamlined. And yet you get into it immediately and, okay, here's the twist this time. Very simple change, and yet it changes the dynamics of how the thing works. It's great.
That is cool. I will definitely be buying that one. I buy all the expansions for Ticket to Ride, although I do believe I'm behind on one right now. I don't think I have the Pennsylvania
UK.
One. Yeah. I think I don't have that one. I might have that one. Oh, no, I have that one. I don't have the one that was where you're building the railroad in the Old West. France. Is it France and...
That's Great Western Trail, Lincoln. That's a different game.
No. There's definitely one where you're building the actual rails, which was a different one.
That was 6. France and the Old West.
Yeah, France and the Old West. So there you go. I'm not crazy. I don't have it, but I'm not crazy. But I'll get it. I mean, those are not cheap, though, I think now. I think they're around $40 or something for those. But they're giving you a lot more stuff. There's trains in this new one for the bullet trains, and those are really nicely produced bullet trains. Plus, they've got, we filmed the Ticket to Ride with Alexa for game night a few months so back. And they have a new one coming out for the Europe map. And it's going to be it's a 10th anniversary with all the goodies in it, or maybe 15th anniversry, right? I think it is 15th anniversary. And so it'll be similar to the one that came out a few years ago. That was one shot, right? They didn't actually. It's no longer in production.
10th anniversary one.
Everything about it is so nice. The very large cards, the very nice trains. That one had little zoo cars with little giraffes' heads poking out of them. It was great. And they also have that new CATAN one, right? The new CATAN 3D one that was it'll be similar to the old one that was not cheap, $300.
At New York Toy Fair, the Asmodee North America booth was showing a mock-up of a new version of 3D CATAN. It was 3D printed, so it was not final in terms of what they were showing, but it had the look of the one that came out in 2005. The oceans were a little different. I was talking with someone from Catan Studio, and I guess the original one in 2005 just had pieces of wood with stickers on it for the ocean area. So it didn't quite match the rest of the island. And this one is going to have the same sort of components across all of it.
Nice.
So
I actually have that one, and I never have played that one. And I've thought about doing it on game night, and maybe we can now. We're like, hey, you'll get a better version of this if you want to. I wonder what they're going to charge for that thing.
Less expensive version, actually. So the one that came out in 2005 was resin, and this one is going to be made of hard plastic. So it is not quite the same quality of material, which should make it somewhat more affordable. Although, of course, you add 15 years of inflation compared to the original one. And I don't know. They didn't announce what the final price will be. It, I believe, will not come in a wooden chest like the other one. They're trying to keep that one as its own thing, but that one is selling for $700 up on eBay. $1,000 in some cases.
I never sell anything on eBay. I should consider. No.
Yes, you should. So this one will be a more affordable-ish version for people who want an upscaled version.
Well, that box, I'll tell you, I think the hard plastic's going to be better because the resin ones were fragile and they had to be packed carefully because they could break. Thankfully, ours has survived so far. I haven't looked at it recently, so who knows? But
That's right.
It is a beast. It's heavy
Packed
too,
away. But
it's fantastic. Well, we're done with that part of the show. I miss Scott, by the way. He's really good at this. But we've got some topic of discussion that you've got here, Eric.
So at New York Toy Fair, licenses are everywhere. There's just lots of things, and not just games, but everything. Skateboards and costumes and balloons and just everything you can imagine. There's licensed versions of things. What's weird, though, is seeing how licenses are kind of doubling up on different properties. These two games I'm thinking about are two IP lines, are both from the 80s. There's tons of 80s nostalgia that's been running through game releases and other things. So there's two versions of Jurassic Park. There's one from the Funko game line, and then there's the Unmatched line. And both of them have multiple titles to them that you can play. And then Back to the Future exists again in a Funko line, and then there's a Funkoverse version, so that's two separate things from Funko, and then Ravensburger has one. And it's very puzzling how these things get licensed out, and it seems like a company would not want to create confusion for products based on its own material, But maybe if you get up to the level of a Universal Studio where you are licensing out Back to the Future, you just don't care.
We've witnessed some of that outside the doors at Nuremberg, where all these different people are in there for the licensing. So when they roll those out, I'm sure everybody feels that they can do something with it, are probably welcome to license it.
It's a little weird. So there was an announcement recently where Hasbro had renewed its Star Wars license, and it has licenses for very particular types of products. So initially, when Fantasy Flight Games had its Star Wars license, which is my understanding is up for renewal this year, Fantasy Flight could do card games and dice games and miniature games. It could not do board games. And then it did a workaround and got an agreement somehow to do Imperial Assaults. But
it wasn't just Imperial Assault. They did board games with
Outer Rim.
All of those. I mean,
yes.
But you would see on the backs of the boxes for certain games, there'd be a co-license with like another company would be showing there. Like I'm seeing it right now with Marvel United, which has Come On is making that, but it's Spin Master, another company who I'm guessing had the license for that, and then Come On came along and partnered with them in some way to get access to what they had licenses to. I don't know. It's very confusing to me.
That happens a lot of times. So USAopoly has done Marvel Munchkin because it has the Marvel license and it partners with Steve Jackson.
Right.
It also did a Munchkin Rick and Morty. So you're pairing these license abilities together.
A lot of those are licensed by like Cryptozoic and other companies and USAopoly, right? That to be able to connect those licenses.
Yes. The weird thing with the Back to the Future, though, is one company, and I forget who, it almost doesn't matter now. One company had a license apparently for a cooperative dice game, and the other company had a license for a board game. But in the end, both of these are 2 to 4 player cooperative dice games.
Wow.
Just because the company with the board game license made it a cooperative dice game. And so there's this weird confusion in the market where I'm not sure at what point they became aware of each other having the license. But it seems like it'd be an uncomfortable situation on the market where you now have to present yours as being better than this other thing. Don't go with theirs. Theirs is terrible.
I believe it's challenging for the publishers. I do not believe that Universal cares.
No, Universal probably does not care. But it just seems like, I don't know. I mean, if the other company did not know that there was a competing licensor,
sure,
that seems a little weird.
But part of it is there's the whole North American versus European. I mean, we have Star Wars Dark Side Rising, which is a re-implementation of the not Harry Potter, but Thanos Rising. And that's not even available in the United States, the Dark Side Rising. It's only in Europe, and they're trying to get it into the United States in special situations, which is, I'm sure, challenging, you know?
Yes. If you could have bought it at Spiel 19 and brought it home. Yeah.
I mean, I have one. I'm not a fool. I did get one. I wanted one from the get-go. But it's not easy to get.
Yes.
My opinion is the more Jurassic Park, the better. So
sure.
I'm happy.
I just want the Velociraptor and the T-Rex.
It's so good. I played the Dinosaurs versus the Human Jurassic Park Funko game. It's awesome.
Well, that just reminds me, we've also got them in Unmatched, right? Isn't Jurassic Park in Unmatched too?
Yeah, he had mentioned that. So now I have to go find that because I love Jurassic Park.
There's multiple Jurassic Park sets for Unmatched, and then there's multiple ones for Funkoverse. Yeah. And so and of course in the Unmatched line, well, now you can combine it with Buffy and Bruce Lee,
Robin Hood.
Yeah, there's all sorts of ones like that. And in Funkoverse, you can combine it with Back to the Future and put a Velociraptor on a hoverboard.
And Golden Girls.
And the Golden Girls.
Golden Girls. And Harry Potter and Batman.
Yeah, it's very interesting just to see those licenses roll out.
It's weird in that case because those are actually kind of similar games. One's a miniatures game, got miniatures in it, and the other does not, but they are similar fight type games.
Yes.
Well, I think it's good for the hobby overall right now because a lot of these games are being developed by, how do I put this? Competent game designers and publishers.
Absolutely.
There was a time when, licensing was just a shortcut, right? To get the game into the hands of someone because I'm going to buy it because it's got a Marvel character I like. But now, I mean, especially with these games. Yeah, speaking of, that's right. Okay, look, I might be a little excited about Punisher maybe being in Marvel United. Is that what we're referring to? Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
I'm going bananas. The clock is running out. By the time this is aired, the clock will have run out. I don't know if we'll have gotten Punisher or if I'll have gotten Punisher by then in the game. But I'm trying. I'm trying real hard.
I saw.
You have to 3D print your own Punisher and just...
I might have to.
Make it happen myself.
But I think it's great because these IPs are things that people are familiar with. And people outside the hobby go, oh, I like Marvel. What's this game? Or I like DC villains or DC heroes. What is this game? And it might bring them into the hobby. And then they're going to get paired with a good design, hopefully, and might open the doors up to even more exploration in the hobby by these people who wouldn't otherwise take another look. Like, not everyone's drawn to Teotihuacan City of Gods.
What? Teotihuacan?
Teotihuacan.
Especially because you will not see that in Target or Walmart.
Right.
Yes.
You never know. I don't know that you're actually going to see it in Walmart, but Walmart could exclusively license. I'm stunned. I keep seeing more games like Walmart's going to do this one, which is pretty spectacular. I mean, the fact that you can find... I wish the Walmart stuff, they would actually have them in stores. Most of that stuff they don't.
Is online.
At least in my I don't. We've got one Walmart near us, and I'm not in there very often. I'm definitely in the Target more and see more of that. But we went in recently, and it was a much smaller section than near the holidays, of course. So that was kind of sad. But they still had the big ones.
So in other news, the big news for the past couple of weeks we talk about is Plaid Hat Games separating from Asmodee. So
consciously decoupling, yes. So Plaid Hat Games was purchased by F2Z Entertainment in, I believe, 2015, 16. F2Z owned Philosophia and Z-Man Games, and then F2Z was purchased by Asmodee. So Plaid Hat Games got picked up into the Asmodee group, and it has now decoupled itself and gained independence again, at the cost of leaving some games behind. So
some big games, titles.
Yeah, they're big titles.
Dead of Winter will now be published by Fantasy Flight Games, and presumably all spin-offs and different titles and expansions and things. All the Dead of Winter titles are now with Fantasy Flight Games, and Z-Man Games is doing some of the other titles, Mice and Mystics, Aftermath, Battlelands.
Storybook.
Yes, has the Adventure Storybook line, is now part of Z-Man Games to carry on there, and Plaid Hat will take other things, and it will debut as an independent studio with Forgotten Waters, very soon. I think April 2020 that releases. It was on display at New York Toy Fair. It is being distributed by Asmodee, but Plaid Hat Games is now its own independent studio again.
And I believe, I think I saw Colby say that he still has control over Summoner Wars. I think that one's still under their banner as well. The game that really kicked off his whole publishing house, really.
Yes. Summoner Wars is still with Plaid Hat Games. Ashes, I believe, as well. There's other titles still with Plaid Hat, although it seems like maybe they'll just go off and do different things. Designer Isaac Vega is no longer with Plaid Hat. He's going off on his own. Says they're parting on good terms and going to do different things. So we'll shake up there. That's the second studio that's left Asmodee, with Heidelberg Games being the first. They left in 2019 after briefly joining Asmodee. So there's different...
It's a weird deal.
Yeah.
That one was to get the distribution too, which is a downer, right?
To get the distribution in the U.S.?
No, Heidelberg. Heidelberger Spielwarenmesse, right? So, I mean, that was what was really powerful for them. And they wanted to help them, give them, like, here, we want you to develop games. And they were disappointed because it's hard, right? There's too many games. I don't feel that there's too many games, but in Asmodee's stable, they have a lot of titles. And I think if you're a smaller, if you're not going to do gigantic Fantasy Flight numbers, then you're going to have a hard time. And, that's why they want the big hits.
Right. A harder time, you mean getting promoted within the Asmodee?
Yeah, exactly.
group.
I mean, it's always been, I know that I've had discussions with publishers about their frustrations with getting like shelf space with Asmodee. And I think, we've seen some of what's happened in resolving that now. And it's interesting. I'm hoping... I actually spoke to somebody about the parts replacement controversy, where Asmodee is no longer going to replace parts. They're asking you to send the game back.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is
or
crazy.
Return it to the store.
I can't believe that I hope that they recoup it and try to fix it and put it back out instead of just throwing it all out. But I was told that it is cheaper to do it that way. So you basically, I guess you get rid of the parts replacement department and you just replace the game. But like the biggest concern is, what if the game is not available? So now if you're buying an Asmodee game, open that sucker up, make sure everything's in there right away. Don't leave it sealed, because you may not be able to get those parts at all. But I can see how that's probably cheaper. It's just disappointing, you know?
I mean, that is the Amazon model. Amazon, you complain and they'll just send you a replacement of whatever it was.
Sure. I mean, and that makes sense, but this is something I feel it's slightly different. You're buying a unit usually from Amazon. You're not buying something where it's going to be missing a piece because there's something wrong with the other thing.
True. I don't count the grains in my gluten-free oatmeal to ensure that I got all of them.
I mean, if it's an ounce short, I don't ask for it to be replaced.
You don't?
Yeah.
That's right. I weigh everything that I receive.
I understand it, and it probably, I hope that there's not a lot of waste. That's all. It's, you know, right. I mean, it's a small thing to worry about, I suppose, but it is weird.
I find it interesting just because that's, of course, the model that most products have when you buy them at a store. If it doesn't work, right, you go back to the store. I want my money back. Yeah. Or I just get another one off the shelf.
Well, again, most of the time, that stuff is in production. This is the one thing about board games, right? I mean, Asmodee does things in larger numbers, so it's likely that it'll be available, but maybe not, right? There's definitely still publishers inside that just studios inside that publisher that will be doing smaller production runs, and if it isn't a hit, it's going to be gone, and so you won't have that game. I know that's probably, if you didn't play it and it's unavailable, I guess, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, the games get sold out quickly all the time. And if you're not quick to make sure that everything's okay, you're in trouble.
Yeah. It's not an unheard of situation. I'm sure you have talked to publishers. I've talked to publishers where someone got back to them after a Kickstarter 3 years ago, and they're like, I finally opened the box, and I was short this. And the publisher's like, why are you writing to me now?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do about this? This is 3 years ago.
Believe me, I'm very, very guilty of not pulling the cellophane off games. I've got, I don't even want to think how many I have that are unopened. And I don't expect them to replace the parts usually in that case, but there might be a big secondhand market. Maybe you should keep that game missing parts, order another copy, and then sell them on eBay afterwards.
You can be the supplier.
Board Game Bits.
Yes, you can make your own business.
Supplier.
Exactly. BoardGameBits.com.
That's right. We specialize in Asmodee titles.
Look, fair warning. These games you're buying, everyone, maybe it's time to play them. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. The industry is fueled by the excitement of new games, for sure. And they get the people that, the cult of the new thing going on. And I totally get it. I mean, I'm as guilty as everyone else. But we were talking about, like, when we actually play games, I think maybe I was talking with you, Rodney. It was that we actually play games we've played. Whenever, for us, we record a new game all the time. That's mostly what we do for playing games. And when we actually have the opportunity to play a game, we play an old game because we're like, hooray, we get to play an old game.
Yes, exactly. That's what we were saying. Absolutely.
It does make it harder to do videos too. Because yes, I did that yesterday where I taught people Pictures, which I've already done a video for, Diamant, which is years old, and The Mine, which I've done.
You can't shut up about. Neither can I. So
Can I tell you about The Mind?
I love that game.
That's right. Come to the Church of the Mind. I pamphlets.
The big Kickstarter news we could probably say is be prepared for your games to be delayed. So don't get angry if publishers are going to have problems getting their games fulfilled, because I am sure the coronavirus issue is slowing down production. We already know that factories have been closed for almost 2 months. And actually factories are open, but they don't have workers. So there's all kinds of problems. So be patient with your Kickstarter friends, because goodness, it's going to be a real problem. I bet everything's delayed at least several months. And it will probably get better soon, I would hope. And I hope that everybody can recover from it, because boy, oh boy, is it crazy.
And in the meantime, play your old games, I guess.
Absolutely. Play your old games. Get those things opened up. Make sure Asmodee replaces those parts before. Actually, I guess it's probably done. So if you didn't get them replaced, you're in trouble.
Well, I know launching this week was Chronicles of Crime 1400 Millennial Series.
Oh, yeah.
I got to play the 1400 game, and it was amazing. And they just done such a great job taking people's feedback and reincorporating it into a better Chronicles of Crime. It's a standalone series. Every game is by itself, so you don't need the original Chronicles of Crime. And it's obviously taking place in the 1400s, so you're not going to have cell phones or computers or anything like that. But what's great is that there's multiple ways to get to one point. So before in Chronicles of Crime, you might need to find a specific thing in the pot that you might have missed, and you're like, well, I'm not going to get a perfect score. This gives you multiple options to get back to the same place that you need to be. So that's a really cool. They've listened to us, and I think if you like Chronicles of Crime and the experience of using that app, you'll really enjoy this. So I'm excited for that.
So we will still use a phone to play the game, even though we won't have phones in the past?
True.
Okay.
Irony.
I think we did get demoed we got shown those games at CAN FIJ. Those videos will be going up soon. They did look really good. We also talked about, which I don't know if they're going to kickstart it, but they showed Rodney, not them, but Serious Pulp showed us the
Seventh Citadel.
Yeah, Seventh Citadel, which looks really, really amazing.
Did
Actually,
look really
lots
great.
of new elements to that game that really look good.
Which will be kickstarted at some point.
Oh, yeah, I definitely want to play that.
Well, that was the Board Game Geek Show for March 6th, 2020. I want to thank my co-hosts, Rodney Smith, Steph Hodge, and Eric Martin, Eric Martin. Thanks, guys, for joining us. And join us again in 2 weeks. We'll probably have Scott back, I hope. He will not be with us at GAMA, so hopefully he won't get sick. He's already sick, but hopefully he'll be better.
And I'll hope. Fingers crossed.
Get better, Scott.
See you guys soon.
Take care, and we'll see you guys next week live, so check in with us.
Goodbye.